Hello, welcome to the program. I'm Jane Mutoni, and these are our headlines. The Senate Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Security has published its report on the role of Rwanda's embassies abroad when it comes to fighting the denial and negation of the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi. Rwanda's Ministry of Health has begun providing COVID-19 vaccine booster shots for fully vaccinated people. Everyone, welcome to the news in details. Now, the Senate Standing Committee on Foreign Affairs, Cooperation and Security has published its report on the role of Rwanda's embassies abroad when it comes to fighting the denial and negation of the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi. The senators believe frequently organized discussions are the best way to counter people who may seek to do so.
The report notes on measures adopted by the country's embassies abroad in their efforts to fight genocidal ideologies and those who seek to deny and negate the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi in Rwanda back in 1994. And those measures include the proper preservation of evidence of that genocide. The second method is the establishment and maintenance of memorial sites abroad dedicated to the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi. There are a number that were established in neighboring countries. In Uganda, we have 2. In Tanzania, we have 1 in Ngara, as well as monuments in Arusha and Dar es Salaam dedicated to the genocide against the Tutsi. In the city of Rome, there is a road that was named in remembrance of the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi and a monument in a park. The third method is organizing discussions to fight the denial and negation of the genocide against the Tutsi, bringing together officials here in Rwanda with Rwandans living abroad. The senators also called for cooperation between the parliament, government and embassies so that such discussions are organized frequently, not just during the 100 days of mourning annually. Let me commend our embassies for their efforts when it comes to representing us despite the many challenges they face, in that they help us to fight genocidal ideologies. I believe there is something we as senators should be doing, working with the embassies and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, so that there may be a permanent program that enables senators to talk on this issue in an organized manner so that the discussions are not just held during the 100 days of mourning. Among the challenges faced by Rwandan embassies abroad that were highlighted when it comes to fighting the denial and negation of the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi is the fact that some genocide perpetrators have continued to be allowed to roam free in different countries, attempting to distort the truth of what really happened. Some important books on the genocide against the Tutsi are yet to be translated into languages like Chinese and Russian, and people who use crafty language when denying and negating the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi.
Rwanda's Ministry of Health has begun providing COVID-19 vaccine booster shots for fully vaccinated people. For the first time to get the shots in Kigali City have been commending the government for the initiative.
The first to receive the booster shots are 50-year-olds and above, people who have incurable illnesses, those with compromised immune systems because of illness, as well as people working in the health sector. I am pleased about this because it will increase my resistance to the disease. I am very afraid of COVID-19 due to the fact that this is a global pandemic. I cannot therefore ignore a free service like this from the government. It doesn't even hurt because the people giving the injections are properly trained. This third shot is necessary so that we can continue to contain this virus, though it has continued to spread elsewhere around the world. If we can mitigate its spread here in Rwanda, we will be able to continue working and developing. Health practitioners are, however, warning people against complacency just because they are being given booster shots. That applies to people like us as well, those who work in the health sector. After getting fully vaccinated, people should still continue respecting the preventive measures if the infection rate is to continue falling. Those giving the COVID-19 vaccine booster shots have confirmed that the response from the general public has been good and turnout is high, While top officials in the Ministry of Health have repeatedly emphasized the importance of this latest push in the fight against COVID-19,
tubongerere ingufu mu mubiri.
The goal is to increase their body's ability to fight the COVID-19 virus, and this is normal when it comes to vaccines. Parents who have had their children inoculated know this. We sometimes provide the same vaccine in 3 different doses, so this is not the first time a 3rd dose of a vaccine is being provided to boost the effectiveness of the first 2. We are starting in Kigali City because that is where we have the largest number of people who have been fully vaccinated for the last 6 months. In the provinces, we have people who received their 2nd dose 4 months ago. And when they are ready for their booster shot, the program will be fully established and we will have enough vaccines. The booster shot is being given only to people who have been fully vaccinated for at least 6 months and will soon spread to the provinces as well.
The leadership of the Ideal Democratic Party says that the party's efforts since its inception in the last 30 years have been successful and transcendent, and this is thanks to the governance of a progressive country that holds no one back. Innocent Mugawa reports.
On 30th November 1991, PDI was formed, one of the 17 parties that was formed around the same time. Mukama Abbas, one of the founders of PDI at the time, described the political situation as challenging because of the environment that was filled with divisionism, injustice, among others. That time people formed political parties at a time when the political environment was very bad. There was a lot of instability. It was a sacrifice. Just like the RPF in Hotanyi made the sacrifice. Back then, if you formed a different political party, you would be regarded as an enemy. They would even kill you. But the more they killed people, it created bigger motivation to create more parties. Part of the reason for the formation of the party was to ensure that the country has equality, peace and prosperity for all. PDI President Sheikh Musa Fazil Haririmana finds that the party's goals have been achieved by the current Rwandan leadership. With this current government we have, all that is possible. One is able to access healthcare, education, different services like acquiring passports. You are able to get it immediately. You can do your business without any worry. You can join different leadership institutions, such as the military, different ministries, and other institutions. All that is easy. What we wished for has been achieved, and even more. The history of the country's poor leadership was what led to the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi, which was eventually stopped by the RPF in Hotanyi soldiers. PDI members paid their respects to politicians killed in the genocide against the Tutsi, buried at the memorial at Rebero in Kichuchiro district. They also visited the Campaign Against Genocide Museum located in the parliamentary building, something that these members believe should be a valuable lesson for politicians. This boosts our strength that the RPF in Hotanyi forces loved the country incredibly. To have 600 people fight a government that existed and had more manpower, seeing all that, we strongly believe that the journey of RPF forces gives us hope for even a brighter future. The PDI party changed its name in 2003 from Islamic Democratic Party and now continues to collaborate with other political parties, part of the National Consultative Forum of political organizations in the country.
Transparency International Rwanda is urging the government, especially local authorities, to adhere to the rules and regulations for compliance with the management and use of public funds because of its analysis of the 2019-2020 Auditor General's report, which shows that the situation has not been improving and instead getting worse. Martina Abera reports.
Transparency International Rwanda states that this analysis focuses on the local authorities because it is where most of the national budget is spent. Ingabire Marie Immaculée, Director of Transparency International Rwanda, says that despite the steps taken to reduce the number of mistakes made in management of funds or public funds, the number of errors based on non-compliance with the laws and regulations that were put in place continues to be a concern, especially in the local community. We can't fail to show that the actions that come from the advice and suggestions from the Auditor General are still lacking behind compared to what is being hoped to be achieved by 2024. On the other hand, there are often mistakes made at the local level that are difficult to rectify without the cooperation of other agencies, as some of those who analyze the report of the Auditor General always say. I was wondering, when they are making the national budget, like when they are marking transfers that are to be allocated in different regions, I would think they should immediately be taken to the regions immediately, instead of it having to pass through different ministries. An example is the one for school feeding. Why does it have to come from Minecofin and go to Minagri or even Mineduc? Why can't it be taken directly to where it is needed? There are decisions and resolutions that are made by the parliament that are to be put in action. So most of the time, we wait for the resolutions, and when they aren't put in action, that's when we follow up and find out why it wasn't done. According to the Transparency Rwanda, some districts should be commended for taking steps to rectify and implement the suggestions that were given to them by the Auditor General, including Nyamasheke, Huye, and Gisagara. However, there are other districts that took a step back in that regard, including Ruhango, Rusizi, and the city of Kigali. The Minister of Local Government, Jean-Marie Vianney Gatabazi, says the government has taken steps to address all issues related to the misuse of public funds, including law enforcement, technology, and training of government employees at all levels.
Before, people would use the excuse of not having a lot of people who have the knowledge of it. However, today, there are people out there who are educated with more than 4 degrees. The only thing that is remaining now is for people to have the heart of working efficiently and the right way in the interest of the Rwandans, as well as taking the initiative to contribute to the positive change in the management of funds. The people that work in these services are paid, so imagine getting paid, yet the work being done is poor. People need to do better.
He added that he has hope that the new leaders, including the newly elected local leaders, will bring about positive changes in the quality of public services and the efficient use of public funds. Martina Abera, RTV News.
Members of the Forensic Science Summer School, composing of experts and students from the University of Rwanda, Kampala International University, and Institute of Legal Medicine, University of Hamburg, are meeting in Kigali for 4 days to discuss on how theory attained must be put into practice. Professor Dr. Mutesa Leon from the University of Rwanda has been impressed by the progress made since the formation of the school.
We have made an impressive improvement in this field. Almost 10 years ago, when we started organizing this program, so we didn't have skilled people, we didn't have capacity just to test for DNA, forensic DNA, forensic toxicology, or other types of discipline. So we have really made incredible improvements. So that's how this program has been supporting the Rwanda in various domains of forensic science, especially for training of National Police College scientists who are now working in the RIB and in the Rwanda Forensic Laboratory, among others.
The Deputy Vice-Chancellor of the Kampala International University, Professor Patrick Kyamanywa, has hailed the significance of the summer school for the region.
All this is progress. And for the last 2 years, we have made it regional, because we now have participation from Uganda as well, and that's where I traveled from. This year, we've not traveled many because of the travel restrictions due to COVID. But that regional perspective is important to harness also, because we are more protected when we are all protected. If it's only working in one area and doesn't work elsewhere, then the collaboration and synergies, especially when establishing forensic evidence that are required even at regional level, would not materialize.
Together, students and experts from the Forensic Science University of Rwanda, Kampala, International University and Institute of Legal Medicine, University of Hamburg, Germany. Moving on, despite Africa losing over 70,000 skilled personnel annually, regional human resource managers from 6 African countries converged in Kigali have urged employers to provide a conducive working environment for workers to be retained to avoid brain drain. Betty Mutoni reports.
During the two-day conference, regional human resource managers from 7 African countries have been expressing concern over skilled people from the continent who leave Africa to seek greener pastures overseas.
One of the most important factors of production is labor. And so if we do manage, we put together ideas, concerted efforts to be able to manage our labor very, very well and be able to become more productive, then we are going to grow our economies.
As leaders, we make sure that the work is planned way before, and then so that the worker has the time to work on what they are supposed to do within work hours, and then they have time for their family, what we call work-life balance. So it's really a key component in our workplace that is appreciated and encouraged.
Digital transformation has also brought the changes when it comes to brain drain. So now you don't have to go and work in Europe. You can actually work in Rwanda for an organization outside there. So, and people are looking for competencies. What competencies do you have in terms of being able to deliver those kind of qualifications that they are looking in terms of delivering services?
The Secretary General of the Rwanda Workers' Trade Union Confederation, or Sestral, Afrique Biraboneye, stresses that there should be ways for employers to initiate conducive working environments to retain workers. Retention plan in the Human Resource Department. The issue of staff management should be catered for keenly to retain them. For the organization to benefit from long-serving workers with experience and ability. This shouldn't be done by putting in place barriers for workers to quit, as some organizations do. Rather, it should be done by introducing favorable policies that can lead to workers' retention and for employees to want to stay. The chairman of the Rwanda Human Resources Management Organization, Stephen Karangwa, notes that during this two-day conference, participants will attain more knowledge on how to best balance working from home and at work.
But the experience shown that even at home, wherever you may be, you may call out your work. The important is to get the result, how you hit your targets. Then you remove the barrier of saying the time, the prices. The important is how you achieve the targets. This is the major thing we got from these conferences, where the trend of work showing that the time, the area, the prices is no longer an issue. The issue is how to monitor and how to get to our targets.
The Regional Human Resource Management Training Conference brought together 150 managers from Zambia, Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, Uganda, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and host Rwanda. This story was prepared by Betty Mutoni and read to you by Sarah Shinhore for Rwanda Television News.
The cement-producing company Simerwa has announced the return of its annual golf competition named Sime Golf to be held on the 3rd and 4th of December this year. The competition looks to increase the game's popularity in Rwanda.
Golfers are going to benefit, and I think it develops the game of golf in Rwanda. So it's not only to our benefit, it's also to the benefit of golfers in Rwanda and all Rwandans in general, sporting in Rwanda. So this is a symbiotic relationship. It's good for us, and it's also good for the sporting community in Rwanda.
Some Rwandan internet users say that while technology continues to be a catalyst for national development, there are some issues that need to be addressed. Some tech entrepreneurs say that while the COVID-19 outbreak has had a number of side effects, it has also been a time to focus on using technology to find solutions. The internet has helped me a lot in terms of studies, whereby at some point we couldn't attend face-to-face classes, so we had to study virtually. So I would say it's been helpful. a meeting that brought together various stakeholders in the field of technology in Rwanda, aimed at jointly reviewing the state of art, technology in business, management, and more. They discussed various issues including cybercrimes, children using the internet uncontrollably, and more in order to find solutions to these issues.
There has been an issue of slow internet because while the government is planning to distribute mobile phones in the countryside and in the city to those that can't afford them, the online services are very slow.
The Chief Executive Officer at Rwanda Information, Communication and Technology Alliance, Richter Ingabire Grace, says they are finding solutions to these issues regarding technology. There is an issue with the internet, but that is why we are working together with our partners to find solutions. The General Manager of ICT Regulation at the Rwanda Utilities Regulatory Authority, RURA, Charles Gahungu, says an in-depth monitoring is being done to find a solution to the problems identified.
The internet is very important in terms of e-commerce. We shall be constantly monitoring and assessing the environment. According to RURA, more than 300 telecommunication towers were erected during the 2019-2020 fiscal year, helping to significantly increase internet connectivity speeds. On behalf of the entire news production team, thank you so much for your company. I'm Jane Mutoni. Bye for now.